Video number 5, Composite Functions. If you apply one function, then another, you have composed or composite functions. Composed functions are composed of one or more functions, two or more functions. If we begin with x and we operate f, the function f, we get f of x. Then, if we repeat this with another function g, we can take f of x and get g of f of x. So it means you've taken one set of numbers x and applied two functions. So instead taking the input, two operations on the original number. One function, then another. G f of x. This means the letter closest to x, which is f, this is the function that's applied first. Then g was applied second. This is like applying two sausage machines. We can do it also in the opposite order. First apply g. So we have g of x. And applying f second. This is f of g of x. The g is closest to the x, so that means it's been done first. G comes first and f comes second. This path is f of g of x. So in general, f of g of x is not equal to g of f of x. They can be the same, but usually they're not. Page 19, example 1. The function h of x is equal to x squared subtract 3, and it can be composed of two functions, g of f of x. So we can see this as two operations on x. We have a square and subtract 3. So using the order of operations, we have to do the square as going to be before subtract. So the first function, this is the one closest to x, was f of x. That must be x squared. And the second function is a subtract 3. We write this as x subtract 3. So if we combine two operations, square first, then subtract 3. This is it written in words. The first function would be the square, that's function f. The second function is function g, which is subtract 3. So if we took our x's and operated f and square them, we get x squared. And then we operate g, means we take x squared going into g, and out comes x squared subtract 3. example 2, we have f of x equals x subtract 7 and g of x equals 5x. We need an expression for h of x, which is composed of f of g of x. This means we do g first and then f. So g, function g is 5 times x. So we can replace gx in this bracket by 5x. This goes into the bracket. So f of g of x is f of 5x. Now instead of putting f of x, and that's x subtract 7, we can replace the x here with the new function 5x. So replace the x with 5x, and we replace the x in the function of f with the new function 5x. So 5x subtract 7 is function hx. Example 3, f of x is equal to x squared and g of x is equal to x plus 2. We need to find f of g of x. So we do this, copy down f of x, which is x squared. Now we insert g of x in the position where x is in the brackets. X plus 2 goes in here. Also replace x in the function here with x plus 2. Instead of x squared we have x plus 2 all squared. And that is f of g of x. X plus 2 all squared. We can do this the other way round. G of f of x, which means apply f before g. Copy down the function g of x, which was x plus 2, and insert f of x into the bracket. You can also leave a space here where x was to insert. So in those two brackets we're going to insert f of x, which is x squared. X squared goes in here. So now we have g of f of x. X squared plus 2. Those brackets weren't necessary this time. Example 4. Page 22. F of x is x squared plus 2 and g of x is 3x subtract 1. We will find f of g of x. Copy f of x from the question, x squared plus 2. Then insert g into the bracket. Also, replace the x with a bracket. X squared plus 2. So we will insert g into these two positions. 3x subtract 1 goes in these two brackets. So now we have f of g of x. X subtract 1 all squared plus 2. Now we can leave it like that or multiply out to get a simpler form. Write down 3x subtract 1, 3x subtract 1, add 2, expand the brackets, 3x multiplied by the second bracket, subtract 1 multiplied by the second bracket, and plus 2 at the end. This gives 9x squared, subtract 3x, subtract 3x, add 1, add 2. 9x squared, subtract 6x, plus 3 is our final answer, collecting like terms. Page 23, B, g of f of x, where f of x is x squared plus 2, and g of x is 3x subtract 1, we copy the function g of x, which is 3x subtract 1, then rewrite this with a bracket and space to insert f. Insert the function f into these two brackets. F is x squared plus 2, x squared plus 2. So g of x squared plus 2 is 3x squared plus 6 subtract 1 by multiplying out the bracket. 3x squared plus 5 is g of f of x. Example 5. F of x equals 1 over x plus 1 and g of x equals x cubed plus 5. We're going to find f of g of x. So we start by copying f of x, 1 over x plus 1, then rewrite this with a space to insert g of x. 1 over bracket where the x used to be. We want to insert x cubed plus 5 in these two positions. X cubed plus 5. So f of g of x equals 1 divided by x cubed plus 5 plus 1, which is 1 over x cubed plus